Hey guys, Romie here. So, of course, please like, comment, subscribe. This is the new edition story, part 2. And it starts off with Ralph. He's just kind of feeling away because he's thinking, I'm doing all this work. I love my bros, but I really don't understand why I'm doing all this work. And I can't do certain things that I want to do. I'm doing all the songs pretty much. I'm showing up for everything. So it's like, do you need a vacation? Do you need work? Because he's talking to Gary. And Gary's doing his Jedi mind tricks to, convince Ralph. Don't worry about it. We got you covered. We know who we're really focused on. We love all of you, but we know that you're putting in a lot of work and it'll pay off and all of that. Anything to keep him warm and keep him excited. Along with that, we're in the studio now. And what's going on is Mike's having a hard time vocal wise because they're trying to do some, I guess you can say, general vocals and harmonizing and all of that. And as far as the singing portion, he's more so the spoken word rapper type as far as what the type of music that they do anyway. So he's having a hard time going and doing it. They're like, alright, just cut and we'll try again. They go into the car. Well, everyone gets to the car except for him because he's the last one in. And they're joking around, messing around, and he's just like, no, forget it. I'm in a bad mood. I don't have time to deal with you jokers. I'll go and get a cab. We're actually getting paid something this time around, so I can afford a cab. The driver starts to drive off, and they roll over Mike's foot. And of course they stopped me. I was like, "Oh, dude, what happened? What happened? Sorry, I didn't see us. I thought that you were in the car. I didn't know. And everyone jumps out except for Bobby to see how Mike's doing. Bobby's doing this usual Bobby thing. Dude, what you do? That's what you get for being dumb. And with all that, Mike went and spit in Bobby's face. I'm thinking, damn, you really must feel a certain way against someone, especially someone you know, to spit in their face. And then a huge brawl broke out. And then it became this big thing of, uh-oh, is Mike going to stay in the group or not? Because we can't have any type of issues. Of course, all the moms were just very concerned about, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because we can't have him in there. So Mike gets escorted back to his room by Jeff, and he's just like, you need to chill out. You just need to chill out. You need to breathe. Gary's trying to let it be known, look, I completely understand. We take these things very seriously. Do you want Mike in the group or not? Because we can't have this type of physical altercation, anything messing with the brand. We can't have any of that. Now, Bobby says, what are you talking about? He didn't kill me. So of course I want him back in the group. I'm thinking, well, you guys really are thick as thieves. Nothing's going to break you apart. That's what I'm thinking, but we know better. But that just goes to show you that it will have taken a lot for the group to be broken up. And unfortunately, a lot did happen. Things didn't just get better from that. It was like the start of a major division between them. Because over time, now we have Bobby really starting to come to his own and trying to take center stage regardless of where they are and what they're trying to do. And Ralph kind of slowly wanting a solo deal of his own and wanting to branch off, but he still has to be there for his family. But before all that can be said, Mike does records his part of a song, and of course he's not singing, he's just kind of doing the, you can almost call it voiceover work. And, he comes back to the studio and all the guys are kind of looking at him, and Bobby embraces him like, my man, you killed it. So that's their way of saying everything's good, we're family, we're bros. And I'm thinking, this isn't working right now. Gary doesn't have what it takes to keep this group together. I'm thinking, we need Brooke back. We need Brooke back. Now the president of MCA is there, and he's looking at who's that woman? Why is she here during rehearsal? What's going on? That's Ralph's girl. It's like, oh, I don't care who she is. She's a distraction. Now, this is like, don't worry. When we sell millions, when we make you potentially hundreds of millions or tens of millions, you'll be thanking me. Alright, I'm going to trust you for now. For now. For now. And it was funny because they were trying to dance, and they had this guy who was definitely embracing all of the 80s, and he wanted them to do all types of different hip and pelvic thrust, and it wasn't the pelvic thrust that they were used to, and it was very sensual, very loose, move your body type of stuff, which is not what they were a part of. That's not what they learned. That's not what they were brought up on. So they were over it. Gary knew that the group needed some direction again, so with the parents' approval, he brought back Brooke. Yes, he brought back Brooke and told Brooke, here's how it's going to go. I'm the manager. I'm the manager. I manage them. You're just a choreographer. Excuse me? He's just the... Okay, that's why you need to go. He's just a choreographer? Oh, okay. We'll see how long that takes. Brooke says, I know what I'm here for. I know my position. And mind you, he's not even talking to Gary at this point. He's talking to Jeff, because he is not here for Gary. And I'm thinking, Brooke, see, that's why I knew it. I knew it. And to this day, he's still managing or part of New Edition. So that says a lot. And like I said, they were so happy to see him, because they were like, Lord, they had us trying to do some Manilo stuff, and we were over it, and we just need you. And I'm thinking, yeah, they need him. He should have just been the tour manager the whole time, like I said in my first review. So they're going and practicing. Gary comes in, and they're on stage. They have a DJ. They have this whole castle set up. They have their suits again. Gary says, I love the look. I love the look. I love the moves. What's with all this extra production? What's with all this? What's with all this? What's with all that? I can't do it. No. Here, let's go. This is time and money. This is money being spent. You know, we can have all that. Yeah, but you know, we're trying to make money. I'm thinking, didn't you talk about having sponsors and doing all these great grand things? You sound like Trump now, but she's like, Ralph, what do you think? And they're thinking, hello, there's more than just Ralph in this group. Bobby said, you know what, that's my cue, because I see what's going on here. I'm just going to go and leave. Brooke has this look of, you continue doing what you're doing, you'll get what you get. But Ralph said, maybe we can just do this for a couple of shows, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll switch over to your plan. I'm thinking, Lord, this is a little bit too much. Bobby was over it. He found himself a girl that he apparently knew. He took a car that supposedly was his friend's. Mind you, he doesn't have a driver's license with him. He doesn't have any ID. The officers, when they got pulled over by the officer because he was speeding like a madman, the officer was like, license registration. The girl's like, don't you know who he is? He's from New Edition. This is Bobby Brown. He was like, shut up. Officer, I don't have any registration. You know what that means? Arrested! He gets arrested. Now Gary has to go and do so much damage control. And this is how Bobby, you know, this wasn't the start, but this unfortunately aided with his whole rap of being the bad boy of the group. And he's in jail. Gary has to go and bail him out. And Gary's just like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why are you doing it? What is wrong? What is really happening? He's like, you know what, Gary? I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I got someone pregnant. You know, back in California, you got someone pregnant. You did what? You did what? I got someone pregnant. I'm and the money. There was $6,000 in the car because that was the money for her. He's like, oh, well, if you need the money to handle some doctor stuff. He's like, abortion? We're not doing nothing like that. He's like, no, I didn't mean abortion. Of course I did. But I didn't mean abortion. Excuse me, Albert, go away. I'm just saying, if you need some help, I could have helped you. Could have given you an advance. You know, it's okay. It's good. This is a good thing. You know, we just have to make sure this doesn't happen again. But I have your back. You know, everything's good. Everything's grand. I'm thinking, Gary, I see the wheels turning in your little evil manipulative head. I see you're looking at him like, this man is too much trouble. Too much trouble. Now, the guys backstage, they're getting ready for their performance. Now, mind you, they're performing at a, basically, don't do drugs, or at least drug awareness event, and they're doing drugs. They're drinking, they're smoking. Oh, like, this is so realistic, though. And guess who comes in? Johnny Gill. This is when we're first introduced to Johnny Gill. He's also signed to MCA, so that's where that connection is in general. But she's just like, oh, so what's going on with the group? What's going on with you guys? And it's like, oh, okay, everything's good, everything's cool. You know, I like your music, I like what you do. Oh, I definitely like the girl that you're with right now. Yeah, oh, you've been together since you were 14? Oh, that's cool, that's great. And next thing we know, guess who comes in? Guess who comes in? Jeff. Jeff comes in, who is basically like their handler. Because they're underage right now, so when you're underage, you have tour handlers to make sure that you don't get into any trouble. And if you do get into any trouble, they're the handlers. So they're like their Olivia Popes, if you will. And Jeff lets it be known that, oh, Bobby, I need to talk to you about something. You know, Gary wanted me to tell you this information. It's like, well, you can tell us in front of the bros. And Johnny, he's cool. Okay, so your girl, she's pregnant. She's actually giving birth as we speak, and you need to rush down there. I'm thinking, wait, what? Now, the crazy thing is, at the hospital, he's there, and of course it's like, maybe this will go and stabilize Bobby Brown. Everyone's excited for him. Gary, you know, he's pretending to be happy, but Gary's over. Gary's just thinking, you know, maybe this will help Bobby calm down and relax. And this is where you find out that Ralph is also dealing with the same situation of his girlfriend is pregnant back at home. She's been pregnant for a while as well. He just didn't let it be known because he knows how it'll look. And that's the reason why he's been having her and been trying to see her as much as possible. That's the real reason. Well, like I said, Gary basically told them, we can't have this. This isn't bad because kids are a blessing. I understand that. He has kids of his own. But for image-wise, this isn't good for the image. So we're going to go and scrub this up. We're going to clean this up. We're going to pretend like this never happened. And that's how we're going to go and handle it. You hear me? You got me? You got me? You feel me? You feel me? Okay, cool. Now, Bobby was MIA. Where was he? He was in the car. Getting some head, some dome by these two possibly prostitutes or fans. I mean, he's famous at this point, so they could have been fans. He is snorting coke like a true fiend, and so are the women. Well, so one is snorting coke, the other one's giving them head. I'm like, Bobby Brown wants to be a rock star so bad, so bad. And Gary's trying to figure out, where are you, Bobby? Where are you, Bobby? He sees his car out in the back. It's like, oh, Bobby, what are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? Oh, you can't, dude, why are you doing that? Oh my God, are those drugs? What are those drugs? What's wrong with you? Of course, Bobby's completely high, not out of it, so he can't even really function and operate. Now, they're on the tour bus, and Ricky and Ralph are trying to let Bobby know, look, we're all doing our own thing. Ricky has his little flask that he's drinking. Ralph's doing whatever. It's clever. But they're just saying how they're not getting caught. They're not being sloppy. They're not letting it affect their work. Bobby's missing cues on stage. Bobby's acting erratic in person on stage. It's becoming a liability. Gary's in the front going off the entire time saying how, you know, Bobby's going to drown us. He's talking to Jeff. Bobby's going to drown us. Bobby's going to be the end of this group. We need to do something about this. We need to kick him out. Gary's whole plan was to get Bobby out of the group as soon as possible. That was Gary's whole intention. That's all that Gary actually wanted to do. And it's just like, he's stressing me out. I'm thinking, Bobby needs help. At least at this point, Bobby needs help. And you just want to go and kick him out. Bobby needs help. You know, he's still young, so I'm thinking, you really aren't going to go and put him in some type of rehab on tour thing, or at least do something? Come on now. What type of... You're supposed to be the manager and you're not actually handling... Anyway, because you only care about Ralph. That's the real issue. They're back at home, and they're all dancing, having a good time, hooting and hollering, and they're kind of reminiscing about the fact that, you know, things are better now, things are different now, and, you know, with Brooke, this wouldn't have happened, and with Brooke, that wouldn't have happened, so shout out to Gary. So, and Bobby's mom was the one kind of cheerleading Gary. And then they looked at the finances and they saw this whole list. I saw the printout. It was just an expense report. I know what an expense report looks like. That was an expense report. That expense report consisted of everything that they had to pay for, from the vocal lessons to the studio time to everything tour related. So Gary said, you know, we had a good year. We had 2 hit records and a huge album that went platinum. And next year we'll go and recuperate, and that's when you'll see. And they were like, no, Gary. No, Gary. This is the same situation that we've been a part of before. This is why we got you and we kicked Brooke to the curb. And here comes Lala like, see, and that's why y'all was saying that my brother was a problem. But see, it wasn't my brother. It's this whole setup. So when you go and say all this stuff, making him look bad, making him look a certain way, that wasn't the case. It was Gary. And I'm thinking, so Gary was trying to spin it and say, we had to also pay to make sure that you got out of your contracts. We had to do everything we could. So I'll go and fix it. And I'm thinking, that's right. They keep coming off of tour, keep coming from these gigs, but they still live in the projects at this point. Are you kidding me? What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm thinking, Gary, you're stealing money. You're stealing money, or you're allocating most of the funds to yourself and giving them, you know, technically what's left over after somewhat of a profit is made, and MCA makes their cut as well. They're back on tour, and you know, Bobby's being Bobby. Bobby's wants to take more of the show time after the songs are done, do more singing than he's supposed to do, and they try to finish up their number. What ends up happening is Bobby is over it. He's just like, wait a minute, so you're not going to go and cut into what I was doing. You know what? I am sick and tired of you. I'm sick and tired of you. And I was like, wait, what? What? So he goes off the stage, throws his mics, just like, I'm done with this, I'm done with y'all. Comes back, trying to do another set, and Mike has a fight with Bobby, and I'm thinking, dang, did they actually like each other? Maybe it was because they were so similar, and they were more so like brothers, and they were just the type of brothers that would end up fighting, so that's why. But it's just, I'm like, dang, did you guys ever get along? Like, for real get along, not, oh, you tolerate each other because you guys are friends. And again, this is out in front of the audience. So now, they're back in the trailer, minus Bobby, and on their tour bus, minus Bobby, and they're pissed, they're over it, Mike's throwing a fit. Gary's trying to let me know, see, this is exactly why I told you that he needs to go. Bobby Brown is bad for the business. He needs to go right now. He needs to be cut loose. They're like, no, we can't do that to Bobby. We can't do that to Bobby. I'm thinking, yes, you can do that to Bobby. Bobby can go. Absolutely. At this point in time, Bobby can go. What you should have done is put him in the rehabilitation center, gotten his mind right, but, you know, that was Gary's job. Gary didn't really care about Bobby, so he wasn't going to do all of that. And one by one, Gary was able to convince them, though, that Bobby needed to go. Bobby needed to go. He was going to drag all of you down. How are you supposed to get your moms out of the hood with someone who still has that hood mentality? I'm like, oh God, Gary, this is trash. Bobby messed up, but they should have put him in rehab if they didn't already try to do so. Who knows? Who knows? Because if they're all had similar situations but just didn't have the same behavioral issues, then maybe it would have been hard to do that. Oh gosh. But the fact that Bobby was just told, alright, pack your bags, go, that's it, off, back to where you came from, no love lost. And then here goes the mothers. You know, his mom's trying to call everyone to see what's going on. All the moms, you know, coordinating, discussing how, you know, Bobby's trying to do this. No, at one point, he was actually missing. They had to put an ABB for him back in the Candy Girl days. So if he was a problem back then, and the DJs had to say, "Have you seen Bobby Brown?" and it wasn't a joke, imagine now. I mean, I heard that he was snorting, having sex with, any woman that got close enough to him. And Mike, this is where we see a turning point for Mike. Mike is talking to Jeff, and Jeff lets it be known, you know what, Mike? I see something in you, and Gary sees something in you as well. And what are your plans? Because right now they're not sure if the group's going to make it or not. He's like, so what's your backup plan? Like, I don't. See, here's the thing. You're doing this music, you're doing all this stuff in front of the cameras. People are writing the songs for you, all of that. So you're not really making any money. But you know who always makes money? The executives. The executives. You never hear about a broke executive, but you always hear about broke artists. That's a dime a dozen. But a broke executive, a truly broke executive that has absolutely nothing, that's not something you hear every day. So that, and he also kind of piggybacked off the fact that, Gary's been saying that you have potential, you don't see it, but he sees it for you. I'm thinking, wait a minute, Jeff, are you in on this? Like, what are you doing right now? Is Gary paying you that much? Or is this your way of actually looking out for them? Because he definitely looks like he is looking out for them, but because he's, I guess, technically on Gary's payroll, that's why I side-eyed Jeff as well. Like, Jeff. So whose side are you really on? But anyway, that parlays Mike to go and figure out, wait a minute, who is this, like, this Flash company? What is this? And that was Gary's company. Oh, actually, you need to go to the record label and ask them. It's like, okay. So Mike busts in, wondering, yo, we need to talk. The president said, Tank said, who is this hood rat talking to? You know what? Clear the room. Come in my office. And then his demeanor changes to, so what can I help you? What can I do for you? I was just actually here. I just wanted to know who owns this company right here, on the bottom of our record. Oh, that's Gary's company. Gary's company? Yeah, you're assigned to Gary. What do you mean we're assigned to Gary? Yeah, you're assigned to Gary. Gary has the publishing blueprint, which means that he has to deal with MCA, and what that means is he handles everything New Edition related. So we're not part of the MCA family? No, you never were. It was Gary. And so he handles your publishing, he handles your merchandise, he handles everything. Lord, why did Mike have to go and find out that information? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So now that he knows that, he tells the guys. The guys say, I see where you're coming from. I understand it. But we only have a couple more years, and then we can get out of our contracts. We can get out of our contracts, and once that's done, we'll have money because, things are going bad right now. Not going good right now. We're finally making money. We're all supporting our families. We're all finally getting our families out of the hood. And if we do this right now, then what are we going to do? Because Mike was saying, we need to go and stand united and be strong, do no press, don't do any of the tour dates, don't do anything, so that Gary will fold and give us anything that we want. We can go over to MCA, have our own blueprint, and all that, because Gary basically owns us at this point. They're like, no, we'll pass for now. Bobby's back at home, and he's trying to snort coke in his childhood bedroom. His mom busts in like, I know what you're doing, but I'm not going to tell you that I know what you're doing. You have a visitor. Lord, I know you're a mess, but you're my mess. You're my child. The visitor was the manager of, the president of MCA, and what's his name, Greg? Whatever it is. He lets it be known, you know what? I have a proposition for you. Because how this actually works is your contract was loose enough to where if, per se, you made a huge contribution to the group while you were in the group, you can get your own solo imprint. Which means that even though Bobby Brown was kicked out, now he's going to be working with MCI to do his own solo music. Exactly everything he wanted. I'm thinking, wow. Because he's like, we're even going to hook you up with Jimmy Jam. And, you know, we're going to do that whole angle of Janet had control. And Bobby, you're going to have whatever you want. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fantastic. I'm looking at this the whole time like, Bobby became the bad boy. And because he still had an image and people were still wondering what's going on with Bobby Brown, it was so big and that MCA figured, you know what, we'll take on the risk of being Bobby Brown in order to make the money off of Bobby Brown. And Ralph is unpacking in his new home with his girlfriend wife, I'm not sure, I'm still going to call her his girlfriend at the time. And she's just telling him, you know, I find it odd because how is Bobby making things happen on a solo tip and you're still doing all the work in New Edition and yet you don't have your solo imprint? It's just like, no, I've been working on stuff. You've been working on stuff with local people. Let's stop it. I want you to be the biggest and the best. You can't do that. You need to go in the studio and be with the A1 hitters. That's who you need. That's who you need, not with whatever you've been doing. I'm thinking, okay, I understand where you're coming from, and she's right, but because of how she's delivering it, she's sideways clowning you. So when he was just like, you know what? I'm going to continue to do what I need to do. Why don't you go and find me some place so that I can actually eat? I was like, oh, dang. 2 wrongs don't make a right. 3 rights make a left. I was like, whoa, okay. Gary thinks that he has a little sit down with Mike in order to discuss general business. But the reality is Mike lets it be known, no, this is, yes, you know him. You know him, yeah, Greg. You know him. Why you know him? For he's good at what he does. We've hired him. You're officially fired. I want to do it in person. Actually, I wanted to do it in person, not because of their professionalism, but to make sure I could see that look on your face. It's like, what about all the stuff I did for you? Oh, you mean taking large percentages of everything that we make so that we could continue to stay in the hood, so that you could continue to tell us what to do, even though we're supposed to be the bosses of you. No, we're firing you. It's already a done deal. When they tell Ralph about everything that's going on, it's weird. It almost seems like Ralph was kind of like, you fired Gary, but we had a lot of things going on with Gary, and I actually need something to tell you guys. So he plays his own music, and they're like, oh, okay, this is for my solo album. It's almost done. What? Excuse me? We're New Edition. How are you supposed to be doing a solo album? We just went and emancipated ourselves, and now you're trying to go solo? It's just like, I do all of the work. I do all of the work. You're a glorified hoe. You're a glorified CEO of nothing. You're a glorified model. That's all this really is. Model, dance, background, thinks he's the boss of everyone. Me, who actually does everything. So, why do I have to answer to you? I can do whatever I want. I'm going to do whatever I want. Forget this group. Forget all of you. I'm thinking, wow. That hurt me. Because I was like, dang it, Ralph. I know you're frustrated, but you brought them all with you, and I get it. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have had this opportunity. If it wasn't for Bobby, for also trying to facilitate bringing all of you together, it wouldn't have happened. So, that's interesting when you actually say it out loud. And Ralph again is talking to the head of MCA, and Ralph is over it. He's done. He just wants to put out his solo music. He's being told, no, why don't you go and work with us so that instead we can put out this one last album with New Edition, then we'll ride off of that fame into your own project. And Ralph wasn't budging, so then it flipped to, here's how this is actually going to go. You're obligated to do this regardless. I was just trying to be nice. and I want to work with you. I want to give you the best. I want you to work with Jimmy Jam. I want you to have your own version of control, but more so like emancipation, more so like freedom. You know, you becoming a man. I'm thinking this is the same speech he just gave to Bobby Brown, but Bobby Brown's already making a name for himself as a solo artist. Ralph goes for it for now, and the guys come into the studio and they kind of start to discuss what's going on. This is when we finally see Johnny Gill is there. Ralph doesn't know that that's the situation. They didn't think that Ralph was going to come, so when Ralph came, that made things very complicated. Ralph is over it, and he's just saying how, okay, so what is this? Oh, Johnny, you cool and all, but am I being replaced? Well, yeah, I mean, you thought I'd be a glorified model, so that's what Ronnie said, you know, from one glorified model to the head of everything. I guess it is what it is. And of course we had Ralph go and storm out. They had to go and baby him and convince him to stay. So then the guys left, and this is where Ralph got to hear Johnny Gill's vocals, and of course he's being played by Luke James, and Luke James is amazing. We already know that. And I'm like, listen to this man sing. Listen to this man sing. Ralph said, you know what? Your voice is bomb. I'm sorry, I'm not hating on you. I respect you. It's just I came to this situation expecting things to be different. You really don't know what you got yourself into. Like, yeah, because I was told that if I just come here, stay for one album cycle, I could go and put out my new album and do whatever I want. Ralph said, I was told the same thing. I was told the exact same thing. Yeah, because, you know, I'm not a partier and all that. I just like to be in the studio, stay at home. Just like, see, we see each other. We see each other. So I'm glad they found that camaraderie, because they'll need to find that camaraderie, because since the next record that they sang together was Can You Stand the Rain? And I mean, the way how that was set up, it was amazing. So they had candles lit. Everyone was there. Everyone was pretty much cool because, you know, general apologies occurred beforehand, and there was a mutual understanding and respect, and Johnny Gill really showcased his vocals, and of course the other guys are like, okay, this is cool, even if Ralph, I'm sure they're thinking in the back of their mind, even if Ralph goes, we can work with this, but even Ralph's just like, oh, because Ralph took the high, Johnny took the mid to lower, and then you had Ricky that kind of handled anything else singing wise, and then there was Ronnie and also Mike, who kind of did like everything else in between. And I mean, it was so cool how they did it. I'm thinking, now this is what we want to see. This is actually what we want to see. And they did the whole song. It wasn't just, okay, we're going to do one outtake, it's going to be for all 30 seconds, and they're going to be all chummy and friends. No, they did the entire song, and they captured the feeling of the song. I was like, oh my god, I remember listening to this song as a little kid. Like, clearly, when it came out, I wasn't alive, but still, I was like, oh my god, this sounds so good. I was like, oh my god, they did that scene, and you could just see everyone's face glowing, and Johnny Gill killing it, Ralph killing it, all of them killing it. That was a moment. You have to actually see that. If nothing else, see that. And they're on the set of Heartbreak Photo Shoot, and they're just kind of talking about how, you know, everything's good. They're all in a place where they finally feel like adults, that they can take control in their own hands. They don't have to just do what anyone tells them to do, because the photographer is just like, okay, smile, cheese. And they're just like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And it's like, okay, but yeah. Mike's just like, let's do what we want to do. So it's like, all right. And that's exactly what they did. And I feel like that's very important for a lot of people to see. Them kind of growing up and taking charge. Now, the last scene was them practicing, and of course Brooke was there, and Johnny's saying, we can bring some new drum people, and Ralph agreed because they're kind of slowing them down, the people that they currently have. But again, I think that's the people that they've been using since the beginning or for a while. So it's like, that's not your call, just be giving those ideas and suggestions. That's what Mike said. And so it's like, how's the least talented person talking to me right now? I said no. Oh, no, he didn't. Even if it's true, no, he didn't. But one of the executives from, I think like the vice president from MCA came and told them, so here's the good news, you're going on tour, you have a $30 million sponsor, so everything's paid for, it's all good, you'll actually make money this time. But Bobby's coming back. Bobby's going on tour with you. That look said it all. It really did. Please like, comment, subscribe.